We have 11 attendees inside the Zoom and ready to go. So welcome everyone to this unique event where we have Killian The Gael on the Iona side, Willie Pride on the Hofstra side, and we're going to determine who is the home team for Iona versus Hofstra on December 23rd, 2020. It'll be the start of a 3-game series. We'll alternate home and away, depending on who is the winner of the event. For those that are on the Zoom, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions of both our mascots, but I don't think they speak, so I don't know how that's going to work. And then we also have Coach Farley on Hofstra's side and Coach Patino waiting in the wings to answer questions. So with that said, Stephen, if you don't have anything to add, I think we can get this started.
I'm ready, Brian. I'm disappointed it's not you and I, battling it out here.
We've cloned ourselves. We're actually underneath the masks as well. So here's how it's going to happen. We're going to say round 1. We're going to do rock, paper, scissors, shoot. It's best 2 out of 3. So with that said, let's start it off. Round 1. Mascots, are you guys ready? Thumbs ups if you can hear me. All right. Round 1. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. We have a rock from Killian The Gael and paper from Willie Pride. That means Willie Pride wins round 1. Hofstra's up 1-0, and Killian's calling timeout. He's going to be looking at the video to determine what he did wrong.
Good job, Willie. Good job, Willie.
All right, with that said, we're ready for round 2.
Why don't you explain how the game works?
Okay, I'm sorry. Coach Patino chiming in. Paper beats rock. Paper covers rock. So Hofstra won the first round. Rock breaks scissors, and scissors cuts paper. So for round 2, this could determine if Hofstra hosts or we go to round 3. Round 2, mascots, are you ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Both are paper, so we'll do it again. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Paper covers rock. That means Hofstra wins 2-0. Hofstra will host the 2020 matchup.
We should say goodbye to our mascot. He'll never be around ever again.
Yeah, I think we've fired a mascot and perhaps the person underneath the mascot too. So we'll have to have that conversation later. Willie, do you have anything to say? Champion. Killian, do you have anything to say? And with that said, we will say goodbye to our mascots. We will say goodbye to Steve and I. You will just hear our voices. And I'll request that Coach Farley start his video, and he will have an opening statement to talk about this matchup.
Well, great job by Willie out there. We were preparing all night. Not a lot going on in the world last night. So, we took, 6-7 hours and really broke things down. And, I know Killian was talking trash. I know he got out there at, 2:30 in the morning saying that he thought he had it won and he had all the votes and he knew what the game plan was and all that stuff. And, we were just able to come through today. But a lot of hard work and dedication from Willie, which was much appreciated. And you saw the focus on his face and what he was doing. So, he did a great job. So props to Willie on a job well done there.
And now we have 17 attendees. There's some media members in here. If you have a question, please raise your hand and I will allow you to speak. Might take a minute for someone to hear that. But if there's any questions for Coach Farley, please let me know. We have a hand raised. It actually just went down. So if you have a question.
Yeah, probably not going to be a whole lot of questions for me, Bri.
We have a couple coming up, Coach. So
wow, I was just gonna say, I don't want to, we should limit the questions to the number of Division I victories that we've had in our career. So I looked up Coach Pitino, so he can only take 770 questions today. And I forgot exactly what my total is, but when I come up with that, I'll let you guys know.
A little bit less?
A little bit, just a couple.
Okay, so Bobby Sefardini, he is now active. Bobby, if you want to unmute yourself, you can ask a question of Coach.
Thank you, Brian. You know, I just obviously this has been a very challenging time for everyone, Coach, with the pandemic. But at the same time, I feel like the country is trying its best to get back to life as best it can. So with that being said, just how excited are you to try to get back to some sense of normalcy with the basketball season?
Oh, Bobby, you know, we can't wait, you know, especially with how everything went down last spring with us winning the CAA championship on Tuesday, March 10th, and then everything gets canceled less than 48 hours later. So nobody wants that normalcy more than this program and the players on our team. Yeah, so we're certainly looking forward to that and opening night and, you know, just getting back to playing basketball again. It's going to be amazing. We're definitely looking forward to it. Obviously, the opportunity to play a really good program like Iona, really good local program. You know, it's hard to get a lot of local teams to want to play. A lot of them don't return your calls and or to accept your call and then you don't hear from them ever again. So certainly know Iona's been a great program and will continue to be and will continue to grow under Coach Pitino. But we're excited about the game. It's a game that we should be playing. And look forward to helping us and our fan bases get back to a little bit of normal.
Are you
All right, thank you, Bobby. Next question, Jerry Beach. Jerry, I will allow you to speak, and if you unmute yourself, you can ask a question, Jerry.
Hey guys. This is for both coaches. Mike just kind of hinted at it, how hard it is to schedule in a normal year, never mind this year. Can you describe the challenges that come with scheduling for a mid-major and how they've been compounded by the coronavirus pandemic? And obviously, I'm sure it's harder to travel this year than it was last year. How hard was it to kind of put together a non-con schedule, and how gratifying it or how satisfied you guys to have found each other and to be able to play a game in December?
Absolutely. So it's a great question. It's always hard to schedule as a mid-major. It's always hard for us to get games. You know, and part of that, we've been successful, which is great, but it certainly makes scheduling a lot more difficult because, you know, there's a lot of quote-unquote bigger schools that don't want to play you because they know you have a good chance of beating them. And then, you know, there's some other schools that want to avoid that as well. So it's always hard. Now with the virus and the way that the season got delayed and losing games and basically having to rework our entire non-conference schedule, it's been a huge challenge. And again, with less games and different conferences with different restrictions, it's been really, really hard. So to be able to find a game like this, a local game, you know, and then like Jerry, as you hinted at with the travel restrictions under, you know, Governor Cuomo's plans and the New York State restrictions there and the quarantine rules, et cetera, it's been a challenge. You know, there's just certain states we weren't going to be able to go to. And now with the updated rules of we'll have to quarantine when we get back from certain states. So it's really, really difficult. So to be able to find a good local game like this, and in general, you want your non-conference schedule to help you get ready for your conference schedule. So playing Iona, who's a really good team, and Coach Pitino is obviously an unbelievable coach, and it's going to help us get ready for playing the Colonial, which will start a couple weeks after we play on December 23rd.
I think Jerry has another question.
Yeah, Rick, I kind of want two questions. I want to ask you if you could.
Let's keep it to Coach Farley first, and then we'll.
Okay. Okay, I'm good for now then.
Okay. The next person we will have questions for Coach Farley is Ken Kreitzer. Ken, if you just unmute yourself.
Yes, Coach. Nice to say hello. Just wanted to ask you about how you communicated with your players during the COVID period and worked on training. And when did you get practice started for your team?
Great question, Ken. So it was a really difficult time. And, you know, in college basketball, you're so used to being around with everybody. Our guys typically go home for about a month, late May into June, and then they're home for most of the month of August before returning for the summer. And then, you know, we didn't see these guys from March 11th until they were getting back in August. You know, guys started getting back to quarantine here at the beginning of August, and first day of move-in was August 15th. So not seeing them for a long time was really hard, you know, using these Zooms and FaceTimes and, you know, just trying to keep building those relationships and obviously everything else that our country was going through. It was a really, really challenging time for everybody, especially, you know, the 18 to 24-year-olds that were coaching and responsible for helping to grow and to groom into young men. So definitely a very challenging time. We tried to do the best that we could, but our players were great about it and flexible. And that's kind of a theme that we've had all year, is just, being flexible with everything we do. Even with getting back, we weren't able to do anything for the first couple of weeks. And then it was just strength workouts with our Coach Jimmy, our strength coach. And then it was just individual workouts. So we actually didn't get to live competition until, I believe it was Friday, October 16th was the first day that we were able to practice and go live. So it was a long time. It was a long 7 months without competing on the basketball court. But, certainly understanding of what's going on in this environment with the virus and COVID and everything like that and the restrictions. So we need to do things the right way to ensure that we hopefully have a season.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, Ken. And we have one more hand raised. It's Justin Walters from WPX Channel 11. Justin, you are, if you unmute yourself, you can ask the question.
Thank you, Brian. Coach, hope all is well. Was wondering if you could peel back the curtain on what the process was like and why you guys chose for rock, paper, scissors to determine this game. I'm assuming, of course, the pandemic played a role on this and you guys wanted to have a creative spin.
Yeah, I get zero credit for this. I'll let Stephen and Brian chime in on that. I think they were the two masterminds behind this, and I'm glad they were, because it ended up working out pretty well for us. Who knew old Willie was so good at rock, paper, scissors?
Thanks, Coach.
And I don't believe there's any more hands raised. I'll give one quick moment if there's anyone that wants to raise their hand. If not, we'd say thank you to Coach Farrelly, and I will ask Coach Patino to start his video.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Coach Patino, if you have a opening statement, we can start it off.
We're excited to play Hofstra. Obviously, I personally attended St. Dominic's in Oyster Bay, which is not too far from where Hofstra is located in Hempstead, and always had great respect for the Hofstra basketball program going back to the Jay Wright days. And certainly we look forward to hope maybe a long relationship with Hofstra. When you have quality local teams, you'd love to get them on your schedule because you don't have to spend a lot of money to travel and play them.
Okay, Coach, we have a couple hands raised. First question will be for Jerry Beach. Jerry, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hey, Rick, thanks for your time. Two quick questions. First, I asked Mike this, how valuable, first of all, how tough is it to schedule at the mid-major level in general, and especially during the coronavirus era, and how valuable is it to be able to find a game like this? And now obviously you have a 3-year contract. How valuable is it to find a game like this local in a year where you probably can't travel as much as you might like to?
Well, it's invaluable. Hofstra has had great success, not only last year, but in the past. They have outstanding tradition. And, it's something that we look forward to because we're going to play in Madison Square Garden next year. I believe we're putting together a home and home with Brigham Young. We're going to be playing in a tournament in Florida, the Disney Classic, which has Kansas and Alabama in there. Down the road, we're playing in the Atlantis tournament, which is always top 15 talent. So we're trying to really upgrade our schedule, and certainly having Hofstra on it bodes well for us in doing that and accomplishing that feat.
And secondly, I remember, I believe you were hired just after the sports world shut down. Obviously, Hofstra was one of the last teams to get in under the wire. So kind of an interesting bookend. You guys both kind of had big news happening right around everything happening. What do you remember about that week, and in particular, just, the maelstrom of things going on and taking a new job in the midst of everything in sports kind of being shut down? What was that like for you?
Well, Jerry, I was in Greece coaching professional basketball, and it's funny because I met someone a little later on a plane back there that he had to spend 6 months there and couldn't get out because I got out 24 hours ahead of him, catching a flight through London. If I didn't catch it, I would have been stuck there and probably would not have been the Iona coach. So I got lucky. The president, as well as the athletic director, flew over to Madrid, Spain to meet with me. And I was named the coach, and I got out just in time before the pandemic got into full swing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question will be Adam Zagoria. Adam, if you unmute yourself, you can ask a question.
Coach, how we doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Adam.
How you doing today? Okay.
I'm great, thank you.
All right. Just with the whole COVID and the 14-day quarantine, already we've had, Villanova and Marquette had to pause, 14 days basketball activities because of that. I'm just wondering, what do you think the likelihood is that either Iona's season or just the MAC season in general could be disrupted? People have to miss games because of a 14-day quarantine.
Everybody's going to be disrupted because of the 21 days that they're demanding. Unless the vaccine comes, which is nowhere in the near future, we're all going to be disrupted. There's going to be cancellations, postponements. That's why I personally thought the ACC coaches had a great model to let everybody in the tournament. I thought that was great because now you're not concerned with postponements. You're not concerned with cancellations. College interest would be amazing for that 1 year where everybody's in because of all the cancellation disruptions. I was really disappointed that they didn't look at that model and give it serious consideration in light of the fact that we would have so many cancellations and so many postponements.
So just to clarify, Iona would pause for 14 days if someone tested positive, right?
Yes, and then we'd have to, like we have someone right now. It's happened to all of us. So yes, and then I believe there's a period of time where you've got to get that athlete back. You can't just after 14 days not get him back in shape. So it would be very difficult.
If I could just try to squeeze in one more here real quick. Obviously the MAC generally, Rick, has been a one bid league. I think there was maybe 1 year recently where there were 2 bids. What's it like for you going from, like a Power 5, conference like the ACC where you had 5, 6, 7 teams every year to a 1 bid league? What will that mean for you guys?
Well, obviously going from the ACC in the Big East and realizing that you could finish in 3rd or 4th or 5th place or even further down and still maintain your bid and get a good seed. Now you go to a 1 bid league, but hopefully we'll add to it. Iona's had great success. Tim Kloos did a fabulous job in 4 straight NCAA appearances. And hopefully that we enhance our schedule along with some of our other teams, and we get possibly 2 or 3 teams down the road. The MAC is a group of coaches that can flat out coach the game. I know quite a few of them, and it just takes better scheduling and wins with better scheduling to get more than 1 team in the tournament. So I'm very honored to be the coach at Iona, to be part of the MAC, and certainly we're going to do everything possible to enhance the fortunes of the MAC conference.
Thank you, my friend. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. The next question, Justin Walters, WPAX. I believe you are able to just unmute yourself.
Thank you. Coach, was wondering how tough of this offseason has been, starting in a new program with so many transfers and new recruits, not having the access that you usually would. Is this one of your toughest off seasons to then start fresh with this team?
It is because, we have 3 different forms of our man defense. We have a matchup zone that we try and teach. We have 3 different full court presses. We have a European motion offensive sets that we have to put in, and not one player is back to understand any of those concepts. We have 3 returning players who are all outstanding, 3 seniors. We had 4, 1 fractured his foot. We have 3, and we had to bring in 12 new players. So it's very difficult putting it in the first year, but I knew that going into it. But we do have some outstanding recruits. They're very hard workers, and Coach Kloos left me 3 outstanding seniors, who 1 from the Netherlands, 2 from the States, who are all very talented young men, and it's been a lot of fun working with them. But it is challenging. I knew that going into it, though. The first year of any program, whether it's Louisville, Kentucky, Providence, Boston University, is always the most difficult.
And one more, if I could squeeze it in, Brian. Coach, you're exactly 3 weeks away from the season opener on the 25th against Fordham. Is there any part of you that gets excited knowing that the month is here, or will it only feel like an accomplishment once you get to that point and you're actually playing on the 25th? knowing that the situation with the pandemic is fluid?
You know, I'm probably more excited today than any period of my life because it's a totally different experience, but it's back home. It's where I grew up. I spent a lot of time in Westchester when I was the New York Knicks coach. I lived in Armonk and Bedford. And I'm probably more pumped up today than any time in the past because the one thing about Iona College, it's a small, charming little campus that every single coach that has coached here has had two things that really stick out from going back to Jim Valvano. Every coach has had great success, and every coach has moved on to greener pastures, so to speak, up the level of that ladder to a bigger conference. Well, I'm working in reverse. I'm ending my career at a place that for me it's all about teaching. It's all about being part of an academic community, and the people I've met here at the Iona College campus, and it's not many, to be honest with you, because of COVID, but people I've met, the alumni I've met, are so dedicated and loyal to Iona College that it's been a unique experience for me, and I'm very, very proud to be their head coach.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. The next question will be for Ken Kreitzer. Ken, if you unmute yourself.
Okay, Coach, I hope you're doing well. I'm actually a Providence grad, and I watched you coach in 86, 87 at PC. I was just wondering about how that period, when you took the team to the Final Four, you played up-tempo, utilized a three-point shot, which was new then. How did that affect your overall basketball philosophy and ways of coaching the game?
Well, Providence College, those 2 years, since the inception of the Big East, which I believe was 7 years, Providence College was either in last place or shared it with Seton Hall. So that was a magical run by some magical players. And I'll never forget it. Providence College always, every place I've been, I've learned many things. And what I've learned at Providence College more than anything else was it taught me to always dream of the impossible, or always dream of the very difficult, that if you dream enough and you work hard enough, anything is possible. And those 2 years taught me on that magical run to continue to dream. And I do it now at Iona College. I'm dreaming of something really special going to happen to our basketball program, not necessarily during COVID or during these tough times, but down the road. So it was a magical run. I love Providence College. You'll get a big kick out of this, Ken, since you're a PC person. I just had dinner the other night with Lou Lamoriello. We spent 3.5 hours together, and I bought Islander season tickets just because of Lou. Now, I'm somewhat of a hockey fan, but not over the top. And I feel that Lou Lamoriello will bring a Stanley Cup champion to the Islanders, and I bought 2 season tickets with their new place at Belmont Park.
Yeah, I once broadcasted Providence hockey with Coach Lamoriello. I just want to ask you, how did you communicate with your players? You had the players that were holdovers from last year's Iona team and the players that you were recruiting and bring in. How did you communicate with them, and how has practice gone so far?
Well, I recruited 8 new players, but basically I could honestly say that 6 of the players probably couldn't have told me what state Iona College was located. It was all based on player development and based on the program becoming even more special than what Tim Cluse had it at, and all the other great coaches that they've had here, from Kevin Willard to Timmy Welsh to Jimmy V to Pat Kennedy, and on. I'm probably leaving somebody out. Jeff Ruland, of course, and to make it even more special. And right now, most of it was done Zoom calls. We have one player from Rwanda, another from Nigeria who just arrived, beating out a civil war. We have a player from the Netherlands who's returning, a player from Germany, and a player from Sweden. So one of our recruiting tactics is to recruit overseas for big people. We feel that it's much, not easier, but it's when you encompass Europe and some of the places I've coached from the EuroLeague, we can get some big people. Now, we did well, I can't talk about recruits, so I'll wait till letter of intent day.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Ken. We have one more hand raised. If anyone else has any questions, make sure to raise your hand. The hand is Jaden Daly. Jaden, unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Rick, how are you? Great to see you and hear from you again. 2 questions from me if you have the time. First, you made short work of getting the roster turned over and recruiting the number of players you got right away into Iona on short notice and some sight unseen physically. What's been the biggest challenge as far as indoctrinating all the newcomers into your system and also getting the 3 incumbent players, Asante, Dylan, and Isaiah, to mesh with them and learn a new pace and a new system that you don't normally see in the MAC?
Well, I'm really impressed with the 3 seniors. They're all very different. They're tri-captains, voted by the managers, the coaches, and their teammates. Almost unanimous. Asante is a terrific point guard, scoring point guard, and those are the ones I like the best. Makes players better. Isaiah Ross is a great scorer, great 3-point shooter, has good size. And Dylan Van Eck is somebody who really understands how to play at 6'8". He's a pick and pop power forward, a little weak physically. We've got to get him stronger. But those are 3 outstanding seniors left by Coach Klus. The other guys, the other 10 or 12 players, they've got a lot to learn. And I have one young man who came in at 7 foot from Rwanda, Osborne Shima, who came in at 175 pounds at 7 feet tall. Now he's almost 200. He's 198 today. We hope to get him up to 210 in the next 3 weeks. And he's going to be a special basketball player because he's mobile. He's better than Gorky Zhang, who signed a $60 million contract with the Timberwolves and won a national championship for me at the same stage. He's more gifted offensively. Now, I hope he's half as good as Gorky Zhang when he left me, but he's very, very skilled. He runs well, he jumps well, he blocks shots, he shoots it. He's just thin. And I've had great success with players like that. Francisco Garcia came in after a 10-year career. He came into me at 155 pounds. Walter McCarty, who came in at Kentucky, was 6'9", 175 pounds, and they just needed a good strength program. So I'm very, very impressed right now with Osborne. He's somebody that's going to get a lot of playing time as a freshman. The other guys really have a lot to learn. And they're not ready to play right now, but I didn't think they would be. They have to blend in and mesh in, and our tri-captains are doing an outstanding job of making sure they're highly competitive and they get after it each and every day.
And one more from me, Rick, if you can. Can you comment a little more on having Steve Masiello in the league at Manhattan? Obviously, you coached him, coached with him, and coached against him. Now, how much more intrigue does that add to the Iona-Manhattan rivalry, and how much is it going to mean to you to be able to coach against him twice a year in one of the more marquee matchups in the MAC and also in the local basketball landscape?
Well, Steven's like he's not just an ex-player of mine. He was my New York Knicks ball boy. I became best friends with his dad. Steven's like part of my family, and he had great success as a player. He played in a Final Four, and the following year in the Tubby, they won a national championship. Steven's an outstanding coach. We played against each other in the NCAA tournament. We were life and death to win with far more talent and size. So he's an outstanding basketball mind. He's a basketball junkie. I just love him. We get together now. We speak all the time, and be a great rivalry. And it's one rivalry that, you want to win, certainly, but if you do lose and you go shake that person's hand, you'll be very happy for someone that you love dearly. So I'm real excited to be part of it. I know King Rice a long, long time. Think the world of King. I know some of the other coaches and it's an outstanding group of coaches. It's coaches that don't have as much money as some of the other programs. They don't have some of the bells and whistles that the big time programs have, but as far as X's and O's, these guys can flat out coach.
Thanks a lot, Rick. Great to see you again. Look forward to covering you a little more.
Thanks, Jaden.
Thank you, Jaden. And the last question, Bobby Sefardini. Bobby, you can unmute yourself.
Thanks again, Brian. Coach, you've had an incredible career. Given everything that we've spoken about tonight with all the different challenges, Do you think coming in, this could be the hardest job that you've had to take, you've taken as a new program coming in?
You know, Kentucky was probably the most difficult, even much more difficult here. Why? Because all the good players, when I took the Kentucky job, they were on probation. 2 years, they were not allowed to play in the NCAA tournament. And we actually signed Jamal Mashburn, who took the program from 4 or 5 years rebuilding to 2 years rebuilding. I mean, what player would choose a school when they couldn't be on TV, they couldn't play in the NCAA tournament? And Jamal did it, and he turned around our fortunes right away from Cardinal Hayes here in the Bronx. So that Kentucky was a difficult program. I think the first year we only had 7 scholarship basketball players. We didn't have great size. Mash wasn't there in the first year, and the second year we won the conference, although we couldn't play in the tournament. And then, of course, the third year was when we were eligible for the tournament, and we played in that Elite 8 game, that special game that lost to Christian Leitner, with that great basketball game that we lost in overtime. I think it was 103, 102, or whatever it was, somewhere around there. I get reminded every March about that game, so it was a special time. But this is very difficult. But I think Kentucky and then Providence, because Providence, as I said earlier, was in last place since the inception of the Big East, and Kentucky with being on probation. This is navigating around a pandemic, which I hope I only see once in my lifetime. You know, I have kind of a funny story, because when I bought the Islander tickets, the person who was running the ticket said to me, you know, we have a 3-year package. And I said, that's fine. It may take 3 years to win a Stanley Cup. I'm all in. And he said, but Coach, we can offer you a 10-year package, and it's a lot cheaper. And I said to him, I said, how long do you think I'm going to live? I've been coaching 43 years. And he laughed. I said, no, I think I'll stay with the 3-year package.